Well, we're back at the other end of the high-low housing now. Now, this shaft here is the clutch engagement shaft. So it actually works the clutch and it hooks to your clutch pedal. So this was actually seized in here. So I've had to hop in here and thump that out and get it out. Now, some of the later tractors had grease nipples in through the side here. But look, you don't really need it normally. But what we do, or what I do, is a heap of grease. Make sure there's plenty of grease everywhere. And up through the outside here. Bring it in from the outside so the grease pushes through. Now don't get too hung up on what sort of grease it is. It just needs some lubrication. So we'll bring the shaft in. Now there's a spring here. I'll just wipe this up a little bit. Keep the housing clean. Now there's a spring that sits in here. You can actually see a little mark here where the side of the spring's been sitting. So it sits on this shaft, and we've got a bit of a we're getting a bit of a hydraulic lock up the back end there, but that's okay. And this little spring here, he actually sits around the back of the throwout fork, which is this fella here, and actually holds it back and stops it from coming forward. And when it comes forward, it would rub on the clutch all the time and your throwout would wear out. And so this little fella here, he's always got a bit of tension on him, and sometimes they take a little bit of sorting out. So I'll see if I can get this little fork set up. Now, the fork here, have a good look. I've seen them break through here. It's not common, but have a good look at it. Make sure it's okay. Make sure these surfaces are nice and smooth. And on this one they are. Always put a little bit of grease through here. And if we try, this fella has to go like that, that has to go like that, this has to come around there. I'll get a little screwdriver, that's too fat to bring it around. So we can bring that spring around, and this fella goes in under it there. But I'll just try something else. I haven't done this like this before. I'll just give it a go. You can hear the roof cracking at the moment. That's just as the sun comes out and the old tin shed here just expands and contracts, and away it goes. Just wondering, could I roll it around the corner here? There we go. Now we have to tighten all this up properly. I'll see if I can get a bolt started in here. These were 2 new bolts I had to find. Another couple of lost ones. But I might just run a bit of oil over this spring. Well, this should go nice and easy, but I'll just run a bit of oil over this spring to... It's been sitting for that long. I think it's yeah, it's starting to work its way a bit back. There we go. That's what you want to see. The spring was jamming up inside here a little. I'll just make sure it's right across. Right, keep the bell housing clean once more. That's what we want. Right, now the throwout bearing on this is a component type throwout bearing. Now this is an old one I've had laying around, so it's a good opportunity to use it. And we'll just make sure everything sits okay. Yep, that's good. So I'll take that off. We'll run some grease on it. Lots of grease up in the hole here. We need grease on the snout. We need grease here, grease there. On the surfaces that rub on the throwout bearing. Now, on this particular, this is what I like to do. There's a hole coming in here. There's a tin plate where you can check things. And some of them have a little grease nipple on it. I actually put a long one. I find the long one is just far easier to get a gun onto. So we'll stick that up in there. So you can see now that when I move the lever here, it springs back on its own, so we know it's not going to rub. Now some of this excess grease, just run a little, not a lot, just a little on these shafts to help line it up. Now a little bit of grease around the front of these splines. When we go in, it does help a lot. If you do them dry and you're trying to line it up, sometimes you have a bit of a problem. So look, that's nice. There's a little bit of grease there to help lubricate the splines. Now at this stage, that should be done. That's all we need to worry about there. A little bit of grease here doesn't matter because that's where the cover goes. Now what I like to do now, I'll grab the clutch plate and I'll slide the clutch plate over there. So when we go to put the tractor back together, we know it's the right spline. Right, now here's our clutch plate. Now the offset section normally goes to the flywheel on one of these. So at this stage, we can put that on. We know now that when we go to put our clutch together, the clutch plate's going to line up. It's the right spline. This will fit because that's off, we're using the old clutch cover. So there you go, that's just fitting the throwout bearing. There's no need to have anything on here. I will, before we get too serious in running the tractor, I will grease this, but that grease nipple doesn't really grease the throwout bearing. as much as it greases the slide here. But I will give it a couple of pumps of good grease. And look, that should have the bell housing finished, ready to go back together.